Awesome. Hey, I'm John Bolger with Premier Guitar, here with John Oates. John, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Great to see you.
Hey, man, it's great to see you, and great to see you with this guitar, because this is the one.
It feels like part of my body. It really does, man. It's got the big belly scoop, you know. And,
right.
You know how this is a 58 Strat, and
wow.
So when it was built, you know, but they were all hand carved, so different builders, you know, made a different kind of scoop. And there's something about this guitar, man. It just fits in there really good. The neck is this neck that I actually had the Fender Custom Shop reproduce this guitar, so I have a couple kind of copies.
How accurate is the
Pretty
reproduction?
darn good. They did a really good job, but this is the real one. Of course, there's not a lot of stock stuff left on it. A lot of brass stuff was a big deal in the 70s.
Sure, yeah.
They replaced even the back plate. The brass.
Cool.
So it's kind of a 70s vibe.
Yeah. So what year did you get this thing?
Well, I bought it in '73 from a drug dealer in New York. It was $150.
Okay.
And
so what else was in that transaction?
Nothing,
don't tell
nothing
me.
at all, man. Nothing at all. But I got the guitar. That's what's important, right? 59 PAF in the back.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
So an honest to God 59
Yes,
PAF.
sir.
What year did you put that in?
It was in the guitar when I bought it.
No way.
This is exactly how I bought the guitar. Except about 5 years ago, Seymour Duncan, I had retired this guitar because I didn't want to take it on the road anymore.
Yeah.
Seymour Duncan said, "Man, how come you don't play that guitar anymore?" I said, he goes, "No, you got to play it." He goes, "Why don't you send it to me and I'll tweak it up for you?" So when I sent it to him, and when he took the plate off, it turned out that the neck pickup was one of his first pickups from the early 70s.
Wow.
So we replaced it with one of his newer PAF replicas, and it's got a 5-position switch, and it's just one of those things that it just works, man. I don't even know what to say. Never had it refretted.
You're kidding.
No, it just is what it is, you know? And it's just got that spank, you know?
Right. Yeah, man, it's crazy because I guess maybe it's a PAF because it has kind of a...
Well, it's almost got a Fender-y thing when I put it in a split position.
Right.
But if I put it down on the back pickup, I can get a little more... So it's pretty cool that way too. I really only use 2 positions. I use really pretty much the bridge pickup and the split.
Cool.
And the split almost all the time.
Oh, cool. Hey, I'm John Bolger with Premier Guitar. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee with Doyle Bramhall II. Man, thanks for taking the time to meet us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Man, tell me about this guitar. Fans have seen you with, this is the one you've had for like long back, right?
Yeah, I've had this one since 2000. I actually bought this and 2 other Marshall 68 Plexi Super Basses.
Oh, wow.
I bought them all on the same day, and I was at Norm's Guitars in Los Angeles. And my friend, who's also a big guitar dealer out there, Albert, he saw this guitar on the wall and he said, "You have to buy this."
Yeah.
He's like, "Whatever you do, you have to get this guitar." And the reason I was attracted to it at first was because it's so light.
Right.
It's actually probably about 7 pounds, and other Strats are like 7.8, almost 8 pounds.
What year is
super
this?
Light. This is a '64.
Wow.
And I just recently took off the back plate and noticed that it was it was made on the exact same date that my daughter was born. So
wow,
pretty cool.
That was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're one of the fat strings on the bottom. You play it, true right-handed flipped over.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets a little complicated. Like when people say, "Oh, you played like Jimmy," but Jimmy actually played a right-handed guitar strung left-handed.
Right.
And I play a right-handed guitar strung sorry, a left-handed guitar strung right-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is too, like, I think Eric Gales does that too. I
Yeah.
think Eric,
Yeah, he
Eric
does.
I think you're the only guys I know, and it's a very unique sound. Like, I mean, bends are kind of different and the approach is different.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Gales, he sort of defies physics the way he plays.
Right?
In general, just
Yeah.
the way he plays guitar, but especially left-handed upside down.
Yeah, it's baffling to watch. you
Yeah,
know?
that's baffling for me.
Oh, really? Even you, like,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're watching, you're like,
Yeah, I grew up listening to Albert King and Otis
Right.
Rush. I would go to
well,
shows
your
a
dad,
lot.
yeah, your dad played with them, right?
Not them in particular, no, but he...
Or
he
Freddie
had-
King, was it?
He had played with Freddie, yeah.
That's, okay, sorry, I got my
Yeah.
kings confused.
There are lots of kings
Yeah.
in the South.
3 kings.
There's Earl King,
Oh, right, okay,
Right.
4 kings.
Freddie, BB,
Yeah.
Albert,
Yeah.
and probably many more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once I started playing this guitar, I couldn't really play any other Strat after that. And this
Right.
one has a small neck on it. It's 64, but it even feels smaller than the other 64s that I've played. So
I
maybe the
wonder-
guy who was sanding that day sanded
Right.
it down a bit. Too
Or
much.
because it was a special order left-handed, maybe the guy that ordered it wanted it smaller. You
Yeah, I'm
know,
not
I mean,
sure.
because that was a total, custom order to have a left-handed back then. So they might have. Who knows? That's cool though, man. And is it all stock except for the nut? I guess you. Had
Yeah, I mean everything is stock except for I just replaced this knob, and I did have I refretted it because the frets were sort of small and worn
Yeah.
down.
Well,
quite a
high
bit.
mileage. On
Yeah,
that.
so I put jumbo frets on it. and,
Cool. It's still the 3-way switch on the
Yeah.
pickups? Yeah.
Yeah, I kept the 3-way.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, it sounds great, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, very cool. And so that is is it your number one in the studio as well as touring?
I would say it's the one I feel most comfortable with playing live, and I think just
Yeah.
because I don't have to think about it. Seems
Right.
like with Gibsons, a lot of times, because I didn't grow up playing Gibsons, or guitars that have a lot of different functions.
Right.
I get lost in the 4 knob system,
Yeah.
and I'm like down, up, left-handed, upside down, right-handed, because the knobs are also reversed. And if I'm
Right.
playing, sometimes I'll play Epiphone or a Gibson where the knobs will be up here,
Right.
and I'll get used to the way that it turns,
Yeah.
and then I'll switch to a lefty, and then it's the opposite, and I can't remember that live. So
Right.
anyway, I feel really comfortable playing this. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
But in the studio, I use all kinds of guitars. On my record, I used this, on half the stuff on my new album, but I also used a Guild Aristocrat, which is one of my favorite guitars. It's like a 60 or 59 or 60.
Cool.
And then an Epiphone, like a 64 Epiphone Casino
Oh, cool.
on the record.
Was that a right or a left?
They were right. Usually I'll use right-handed guitars in the studio because they're available.
Right.
And I can sit down and play, so I don't have to worry about the strap and the button and the knobs being on this side and turning them down with my arm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know if you've seen that Hendrix on the Mike Douglas thing when he's playing this SG, but you can see him kind of like how's this work again? Like he's kind of stumbling a little bit with the controls because he's so used to the Strat thing, and he just recently switched over. I think that the guitar he just got.
Well, the interesting thing about Jimmy was that the reason that he could play a right-handed body with the knobs up here is because his limbs were so long. So his limb actually went down here past this and also past the tremolo bar,
Oh, wow.
the whammy bar.
Yeah.
So he could get past all that. It never got in the way because his
Right.
arms were so long and they came up this way. Whereas mine actually don't even make it that far.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I've never thought of that. I'm sure that made a huge difference.
The thing that I don't understand about Jimmy is he played a right-handed guitar, so that means that right here is where it stopped for him.
Right.
But yet he got all the way up here, so I'm not sure how he made that jump with those fingers.
I think he just has, he had really big fingers, I think, you know.
Big everything.
Yeah, yeah, more than likely. Yeah. Right. Hey, this is John Bollinger with Premier Guitar. We're at the Marathon Motor Works, and I'm with guitar legend Robin Trower. Robin, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Gosh, it was a treat hearing you during sound check, just tearing it up, man.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about this Strat you're playing.
Well, this is my signature model.
Is it based on one you played back in the day? Is it
No, there's a guy at the custom shop called Todd Kraus that between me and him we decided what ingredients we would have on this. So basically it's you've got a Texas special pickup there, a 1960s pickup there, reissue, you know, and a 1950s on the neck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you know, you're unlike a lot of Strat players. You spend a lot of time on the middle pickup, don't you?
I use the middle pickup, but mostly soloing on the neck. Yeah. I decided to have the bigger headstock.
Sure.
Because I thought a bit more wood, a bit more resonance.
Yeah.
Locking tuners, jumbo frets. Otherwise, it's, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now back in the day, you started as a Gibson guy.
Yeah.
And I think I saw you with a Les Paul Special, a TV yellow one, and then and I think you had a brief thing with an SG for a while.
That's right. Yeah, I had an SG for a bit.
Yeah. But when you discovered the Strat, that was it.
That was it. No turning back.
Yeah, the rest is history.
I think the Strat has got a more vocal voice.
Yeah.
More like a human voice. You know?
Sure,
Yeah.
it's really an expressive instrument, and particularly the way you use it. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
So would you say this is your number one on the road?
The only reason that I'm playing this one is because my favourite one, which is a cream coloured one, I decided that the frets were just too worn. I had to give up using it.
Oh, really?
So I've switched to this one. Yeah.
High mileage on that guitar.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey everybody, it's Ted Drozdowski, Senior Editor of Premier Guitar, and we're here with Eric Johnson. Wonderful guitar player, very nice human being. I've had the pleasure of talking with Eric before, although not in person, so it's a pleasure to get together with you.
Good to meet you. Glad to be here. Yeah.
And I guess we're just in time for the debut of your new Fender Stratocaster signature model.
Just came out.
So maybe that's a great place for us to start talking for this big rundown.
Yeah, well, we're out on a Obvia Musicom tour with Tommy Taylor and Kyle Brock, and I'm playing these signature. This is the new F-Hole Strat. This one is completely 100% stock with all the, you know, I just got it from Fender and I've been playing this one, and then I have this white one that I play as well, and it's all there, except I did put a little stronger pickup in it because I'm experimenting. I used to use a DiMarzio HS2.
Okay.
And so for the Musicom tour, I tried to get back to the tone of that record, so I put a DiMarzio HS2 in this one.
Oh, cool. No, you've got that guitar. Do you mind if I ask you about some of the appointments?
Absolutely.
I know you've got a whammy bar on here that's to your specifications. It's a little shorter, a little deeper angle.
It's twisted just a little bit, kind of like the 54 Strats a little bit.
Okay.
That's kind of what they're done like. And the most of the appointments of this guitar are exactly like the solid body EJ Strat, with the exception that it's a center solid wood all the way through here, and then it's hollow on each side.
Okay, so you've got your signature pickups in there as well.
Right.
And in terms of coming up with the F-Hole design, this is the first Fender Thinline Stratocaster, which is very cool.
Yeah, they actually made a Japanese one, but it was made like the Thinline Telly with binding. So this one, the whole idea I wanted to do with this one is keep it aesthetically like a classic Strat, where you had all the contours, and so that was the real challenge, is how to get in there and do that and keep the contours. So it has an alder top and an alder back, but the top is, when the top is off, they channel out the wood, but they leave the center block here, and then they put the top back on.
Well, when I think of the electric guitars that I know you've favored over the years, it's been Stratocasters, and it's also been mostly, I think, ES335s.
Yeah, and that was the whole deal with this, because I've always, for years, I thought, I love the Strat because it's the most versatile for me, and But I thought, you know, if you could get a little 335 going on in there, it might be kind of cool.
Yeah, that sort of mellowness and wideness.
Yeah, and a little bit, it's like a little air thing that kind of reciprocates back to you, a little resonation thing.
Yeah, well, when you were sound checking earlier, I thought we could really hear that in it, which is really cool.
It does. It's pretty apparent. And then it doesn't squeal in front of the amp because it has this solid wood, but when you do get in front of the amp, it kind of sustains pretty well. So it kind of, it doesn't go overboard on the feeding back, but it does kind of help for that.
And how long were you working on this?
We worked on this a little over a year.
Cool.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about appointments, what kind of frets do you prefer? Are those
like
medium jumbos?
Yeah, the medium jumbos with a kind of a flatter radius. Yeah, on the neck. Yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful guitar.
Well, thank you.
Hey, John Bolger with Premier Guitar. I'm here with Mark Speer of Khruangbin. Mark, thanks so much for joining us today.
The pleasure belongs to me.
Tell us about this guitar. This is your number one. In fact, it is just the only.
It's the only one I have.
Only guitar you want to play.
Yeah.
Let's hear all about it.
Okay, well, I got this, I guess 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. So I've had it for a long time.
Is it? What year is the guitar?
It is probably a 2001 reissue.
Okay.
It's not a vintage or anything.
Yeah.
It's gotten pretty beat up over time.
Yeah, it looks like high miles on that guitar. I thought it was a 70s era just because of the abuse you've put it through. But a reissue from, say, early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s. I think one of the first things to do was probably put one of these in here, a little cruiser.
Is that who
it's
made
a
it?
DiMarzio cruiser.
Right.
Because I was doing a lot of sessions and the engineer would always be like, wow, your guitar is really buzzy.
Sure.
You know, because it's a Strat.
Yeah, that 60 cycle thing.
Yeah, so I put that one in there so I could get much more, clean sounds and not worry about buzzing and stuff like that. And it's at this point, it's made it into the tonal spectrum.
Sure. What I love about that too is those DiMarzio bars to me really retain that single coily sound, but they just take away the 60 cycle hum. So it's like a
I don't even really know. I haven't really beat it against anything. I just know it's a little bit darker and doesn't buzz, and that's what I liked about it.
Sure.
I think once I got deeper into playing guitar, I was able to get that kind of like that jazzy sound. So
love that.
That I didn't necessarily get on a single coil, but they sound great to me. So I put another one here. So the same kind of deal, so I could get high gain back there. This is still stock. It's the exact same thing it's always been. I had my buddy put in a super switch here so that I can switch between stuff, but I actually ended up wiring it, and I wired this one wrong.
Oh.
So it gives you this really like that's not a standard.
No.
There's your Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, which I fucking hate. Can't stand that stuff. So I like that. It's got this really cool harmonic thing happening on top.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think it just sounds like one of those like kind of crappy Sears guitars, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's almost like that. I guess it's a Peter Green thing when he put the pickups in backwards and it made it out of phase. And
the boss of the guitar shop he used to work at in Houston was always like, "Yeah, man, he's like Peter Green." I'm like, I don't know who that is. It took me much later to figure out who he was talking about.
Yeah, but that's a happy accident. That's so. Yeah. The pickups. Have you made any other changes other than the?
Not since that.
Pickups. That's great.
That's it. There's a Tusk saddles in here.
Oh, that's great.
So because I was just getting tired of having those little metal burrs in the end of the saddle, so it'd break all the time. It's got a bone nut on it. I've replaced the frets 2 or 3 times.
Wow. Are those larger than the original frets?
Way bigger. I just really like the bigger frets. It's much easier to bend on and have more fun with chording, all that kind of stuff. I think initially I got bigger frets because I was wearing them down because I was playing all the time. I was like, I'd be playing at church for like 8 hours at a time.
Really?
Like every Sundays.
Wow.
8 hours of straight playing.
Wow.
So they wore down pretty fast. I was like, just give me taller frets, and maybe I won't have to come back here again and
more room to chew through them.
Exactly. So got those on there, kind of have these same sort of tusk string trees. They also help with like friction and catching strings. So if I'm doing a lot of, you know, like bending and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
still in tune. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's really impressive.
Still pretty good. Still
Right.
pretty good. I mean, I never dive bomb on stage, but if I could,
Yeah.
if I did, it'd still be pretty good. You know what I mean? I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's really impressive. You can bend that far and have it
Yeah.
pop right back up. That's great. Well, no wonder that's the only guitar you
Yeah,
have.
I've got it kind of dialed
That's
at
all
this
you
point.
need. Yeah, that's great. So those, what strings are you running on it?
I used to buy D'Addario Chrome 12s and throw out the huge E, and then put like a 10 right here.
Okay.
So this is an A string, A, D, G, B, E, and then a 10. But it's just tuned normal, you know. So this is an E. It's just it's like a 42.
Huh. Okay.
So, because you know, you put on a set of flat wounds and it's so stiff and you can't bend, and it's got this
Right.
wound G, and it's like I can't use that. But I like the tone of them.
So those are flats.
These are flats, yeah.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Okay.
I've been using flats maybe about 15, 16 years.
Wow. Huh. Cool. And that's just the tone you're drawn to.
It's a tone I like. Also, once they're broken in, they don't change how they sound. They're going to sound until they break.
Yeah, I have some flats on a Gretsch White Falcon that have been there for 4 years.
Laura Lee's strings have been on there since she got the bass in 2010.
Wow. Yeah. You need a tetanus shot when you pick it up, but it sounds fine.
Oh man, those are clean. Those are so clean.
Yeah.
Also, like I don't know that you can get into the whole thing of chasing that bright sound that you get with brand new round wounds, and you get like addicted to it. You're like, oh, that has to be my tone.
Yeah.
But then you know you've been playing 2 days in, and then the tone goes away. You're like, well, now I have to buy more strings.
Yeah.
And then you're spending your life, you know, putting strings on your guitar.
Yeah. Who wants to
I don't
do
wanna
that?
I just want to play.
Yeah.
So once these things are broken in, they're good.
That's good. So how often do you change?
Maybe like once a tour. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. That's
These
amazing.
don't break because there's no burrs or anything. There's no sharp edges. I don't hit the shit out of the guitar. So there's a lot of space to work with.
This was an all-time favorite as also.
This one is been with me for 30 years now,
Man.
and the history of this guitar is spotty. When I first moved to Hollywood, I wanted to have a custom-made guitar because Steve Vai and some of my favorites had a custom-made guitar. So I went to a guitar shop with my first check that I got from my first real job, and I plunked, and they skinned me. Like, yeah, I mean, it was a huge ripoff. It was probably the worst guitar that I've ever played. And I chose, but it was my own fault. It's like I chose the fretboard, and I chose this, that, and the other. But I'm not a luthier. I have no idea whether it should be ash or I have no idea. So I got this stinky guitar, and over the course of the next, feels like in 1986, over the 87, the course of the next couple years, I tore it apart entirely. The only thing remaining from that original guitar is this piece of wood, right? So it's had a million different necks. This neck I found in a bin, like a throwaway bin at Nadine's Music on Santa Monica Boulevard. It's had different pickups through the years, different whammy pedals. All the electronics are completely different. I put this like fat head thing on the back because I thought it would give it more sustain. It didn't work, but I left it on. And then finally, like I honestly, like I gave up. I was trying to get a guitar that would be my perfect sound, and was banging my head against the wall, and just said, I'm going to stop right now. This is going to be my guitar, and I'm just going to create with what I've got.
Make it work.
And that was very liberating because it was no longer chasing sounds. It was embracing the sound I had and using that to make music.
And so that's been essentially the way it's set up
This
now.
is I mean, on
since the
all
early
19 of my records, this guitar features prominently. You know, every show I've ever played, you know, for thousands of shows, this is the guitar has been my main guitar for songs that are in standard tuning.
One thing that Perry had mentioned is, do you go through a lot of toggle switches because what you do?
Well, should I want to see a little
let's do it.
toggle demonstration here? So, I mean, one of the things, you know, when I was the DJ in Rage Against the Machine, one thing you have to learn to do when you're a DJ is to scratch.
Yeah.
So
at the time when I got this guitar, like the coolest guitars were the Eddie Van Halen ones that had one pickup and one volume knob. So I was stuck with a guitar that had a toggle switch and a bunch of knobs, which was super uncool. So I thought, is there some way to make this work for me?
Yeah.
And the toggle switch thing is, it's basically this pickup is, the volume is turned to 0, so you hear nothing. And then this pickup, it's turned to 10. So when you go between the two, it works as a kill switch, as an on-off switch, right? So if you create some sort of sound and then rhythmically work the toggle switch like you're picking a guitar, you can create sounds that are reminiscent of a DJ scratching. And then by simply adding something like a slide, which is used in a non-traditional manner. In this way, it's just generating any sort of tone with the guitar can then be manipulated with the toggle switch.
Do you ever mess around with different types of slides or like metals or anything, or is that just
No,
kind
I
of...
complain sometimes because they're like too chubby, but this one's pretty good right here. This was
What about strings on this one?
Strings on this one, it's custom lights. It's 9 to 45, or 9 to 45, and or 9 to 46.
And what's
light.
the
9 to 46.
reason behind
the reason
that?
behind that is just it seemed to work better with the locking nut for me.
Okay.
And because I'm not tuning down for this, it provides sort of like a springiness in the ease in bending without having the 10s on there. So.
Cool. And I assume those are just EMG.
Yeah,
A185s?
EMGs. And again, much of the riffage in my career is done on the front one, which is it's a single coil disguised as a humbucker.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like. And then pretty much strictly for soloing do I go to the other.
Gotcha.
Go to the other one. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
here's another
that's
one.
awesome.
Here's another one. This one I got in a set. I bought a 59 double neck Gibson with a mandolin top neck and a 6-string on the bottom in blonde finish.
Oh.
And
Kind
that's
of like a Jody Mathis thing? Or?
Yeah, it's called an EMS, electric mandolin Spanish, 1235, and they were all custom ordered. But that's a lot of guitar for a whole evening's worth of music, you know? Yeah. That's a big guitar to just crank out the Porter Wagner. But this was the accompanying guitar in the set that the family had, and this is a 55 hardtail ash body Strat. And I like hardtails. I don't use the tremolo, so I like not having a tremolo.
Sure.
And normally what I do is I bolt down all of my tremolos and remove the bars, because there's a weird thing that happens when you hand a friend of yours or anybody, like if you go, here, check out this old guitar, has been in the same condition for 65 years. All of a sudden, if there's a tremolo bar on it, everybody becomes Eddie Van Halen in 1978. And if you've ever had to drill out a base metal tremolo, it is the royal pain, okay? So I just eliminate that from any, nobody can, there's no dive bombs allowed.
Leave them not into temptation, yeah.
Right. And this here is my best Strat. This is one I've played for years. I got it from my friend Trevor Boone at Emerald City Guitars, and he calls me up, he goes, I have the best Strat in the world. I go, boy, oh boy, you better be right. And he sent it to me, and it had no frets on it when I got it, because it was just the original frets. So I had Joe Glazier, Nick over at Joe Glazier put the frets on it, and I've played it every show, almost every show for the last 5 years. And it literally is my best Strat. It just has the best sound. There's 66 pots in there. I don't know why. I don't care. These pickups are original, but I don't do anything to them, except string them and go.
So what makes it the best? Is it just the tone? Is it the feel? Or
there's a cut up. You can A/B it to other Strats. There's an extra 5% on this one. I don't know why. And it's just, I think when you look at something like this, you go, there's a reason why this thing's been played this much. I didn't do any of this. This is the way I got it, and you know, there's a reason why these things have been played, and there's just something about it. It's just the wood, maybe it's the single capacitor here, it's the switch, the wire. I don't even look, if I like them, I don't even look at them. I never pop the necks, you know.
Right.
I don't need to know what the date is if it plays good.
Yeah.
Because I've pulled the necks off, you know, and go, well, I'm just bored, let's see what's going on. And it never plays right when you put it back. You know?
Right. Why mess with it? Yeah.
You know, just for an Instagram photo? Who cares?
Thank you for taking the time out before the tour rehearsals to show us all the gear. So let's dive right into the guitars.
The guitar everyone likes to hear about most is Blue. Billie's guitar he got many years ago for his birthday. And it's the same guitar. He's still playing it. There's a pic of him there on the back.
Is there anything particular he's done, I guess, in recent history? Because I'm sure he's done a lot of stuff to it.
I replaced, it's a Seymour Duncan SH4, and it just sounds great. And not really much. I mean, this is the biggest mod, having the pickup angled like that. It's a completely different sound than having it just straight, like on a Les Paul.
What do you think he gets out of it? What does he prefer? What do you hear?
Well,
with the angle.
I'm still trying to figure it out in my mind why it sounds that way, but it just does. It's something different. You know, like Eddie Van Halen, same thing. His guitar has the pickup angled.
What songs is he using on this? It's probably traditionally the older stuff?
All the older stuff, yeah. It's all E flat.
And what about strings?
Tens. Okay. We're using Ernie Balls.
Ernie Ball?
Yeah. All right. Next guitar. This guitar was the guitar that got broken in Las Vegas, and I put it back together for him because it was the first one that Gibson made for him of this model.
Signature?
Yeah, so the signature without the signature. So that's it, all one piece.
What does he typically use on terms of songs for this one?
This is all the newer stuff. Not only the 3 albums, but it could, well, let's see, let me find a set list. And
is there anything particular that you know of regarding the pickup? I know that Gibson designed a special, the H90 model. Is there?
Actually, honestly, that guitar just has a plain P90 in it.
Oh, all right.
It doesn't have the, what's it called, H90?
H90, yeah.
So this is an average set here. So 99 Revolutions, new album, Know Your Enemy, 21st Century, Stay the Night, new album, Stop the Red Lights Flash. So this first top of the set will be like, you know, one of those, the Double Cut Junior or something like that. And then we get into here, Hitchin' a Ride. That'd be the beginning of the E-flat songs with Blue. And then we go back to the, you know, E-tuning with juniors and stuff like that.
So the difference pretty much is just the flat, the E-flat to E-standard tuning?
Yes.
All right.
The classic songs. And
Hey, well, cool. Well, and speaking of guitars, let's start with this very sexy, iconic Strat.
Well, Edge's originals were 73s. He had two, 3-bolt 73s maple.
Right.
And he got those back in the day before I joined him, and that's what he made. Streets, Joshua Tree, all those great sounds. Still Haven't Found.
Right.
Bullet the Blue Sky. All that was done on those. So when Fender approached him about, let's make an iconic, Edge, which was a big deal. He stayed away from that for years. The same that Gilmore stayed away from those. For Keith still went on that, but Edge went okay, and we all sat down. Alex Perez was the master builder for Fender. Michael Schultz is the cat that makes it happen. That sends me the guitars. But they sat down, and Edge goes, "I want the same radius, a C-shaped,
cool.
But he said, I want the large 70s headstock.
Right,
man.
That's where the tone is.
And he chose bone nut, and these are fat 50s, which he went with, and I think they sound amazing. And then this is the specific Edge DiMarzio FS1. It's not an Edge DiMarzio, but this is in all his Strats. This is a mid booster. So, and he always 90% is in the out of face position, right? Never his solos will be there, but his all streets, everything is done in that.
Great, with that DiMarzio in the bridge.
Yes.
Cool.
And then he said, okay, man, we won't do the traditional. We'll do what you think is the 2-point tremolo, and it has quite a bit of sustain with this particular chrome bridge, and and it's wired in series, you know, nothing
Did
special.
you actually go with the 3-bolt?
No, man, no. But
okay.
and there were many nights after Bullet.
Hey man,
that
show that a little bit up there. So it's
there were many nights he'd give the guitar after Bullet on those 3-bolts, and the strings would be after he'd being aggressive, and I'd go so this of course addressed that. You know?
Okay.
And he chose the mint color. You know, the scratch plate, we call them pickguards, you know, and then he wanted faded covers, you know, which were really, so it's really I think a beautiful, it stays in tune. He did the locking tuners, which we didn't have back on those.
Sure,
you know.
so he kind of took the best of that early 70s and then updated with some cool bits.
Yeah, so anyway, there's 9 of these in this show. On the Joshua tour, there's 9 different of these. He uses different tunings. He uses C sharp. He uses semitone down, you know, D sharp concert. Quite a few concert. We have a D, a total D, and a drop D in these guitars. So that's why there's so many of the same model.
And once you get it from Fender, any mods, or it's like
this is it.
Very cool. Very cool. Show me what's he playing tonight. How's it work?
Well, this is the main one at the moment. So, like I said, they're all the same. They're just different colour. A spare and
wow.
Yeah, the custom shop made by Todd Krause for him to his spec, you know, with the neck he likes.
Wow.
And
so this is just the same signature Clapton Strat that anybody could buy.
That's right.
And you've not altered it at all?
No. No, there's
standard setup.
Yeah, they come set up, pre-set up.
Wow. Tell a little bit about this guitar.
Well, it's active. So basically, it's got 2 volumes, if you like. You know.
Yeah.
It's supposed to sound like a humbucker when he brings in this extra control here. That was the original.
That's how he does it.
That was the original theory, but really it is a real, like a boost. You know, kind of.
Sure.
Almost like a pedal in the guitar. He wouldn't like me saying that, but.
Yeah. So is there a battery inside?
There is, yeah. Yeah, so it's I think it's a 25 dB boost. That's
wow.
what they say. I'm not sure if that's actually on these models, but and then yeah, it's you know, it's a three-way switch on these.
Really?
Because we never use in the studio. He may use in between, but on live shows he doesn't. So
really, does he ever like do the trick where they kind of sticks in between, or?
Well, not deliberately, no. No, we don't do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Where does he spend most of his time? Because I remember it seems
here,
like really right in the middle.
Oh yeah, I mean the other day he was on the bridge and that was amazing. Yeah, that was bright.
So, yeah.
So,
and it's got the blocked whammy bar.
Yeah, there's no movement in that at all. So it's got 5 springs in there and a piece of wood. So you know, it's very solid.
So before the gig, you say, okay, I want to play that one, and that's...
Well, more likely it would be, if there's nothing said, we use this one.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to use it, he'll let me know.
Okay.
But it would always, yeah.
Okay, tell me about the special strap. I see that one's got a special strap. The others are just normal.
This was a present from his wife, Malia.
Oh, well, there you go. So that's why it's a special.
Yeah, and it's, you know, very tasteful. It's made by Hermes.
Okay.
So quality piece of strap there.
I've read years ago that he doesn't like new strings. Is that still the same thing, or is that just bad journalism for 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's the first I've heard of it. Yeah, I've been changing them too often. Yeah, I mean, he probably doesn't like strings going out of tune. Is maybe that where that came from.
Right. What strings do you use?
Ernie Ball regular slinkies.
Okay.
The 10s. Yeah.
Yeah, the 10s.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, old school.
So when he that's a guitar he'll be playing tonight, and does he ever change, or just if he breaks a string? Or?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed we don't change now.
Yeah.
And maybe if there's a tuning issue, but hopefully not.
Does he ever break strings?
No, touch wood.
Huh.